Welcome to the Experience Strategy Podcast with Dave Norton, Joe Pine, and me, Aransas Savas. I've been laughing a lot lately at the fact that every time I open social media, the first phrase I see is, "You're doing it wrong," or "Death of." Right? Like, I think AI has written everyone's content, and so now it all sounds the same, which is a shame.
Right.
But it's only highlighting what's been the case for a very long time. We are using really alarmist storytelling to point to very obvious issues. So we're going to talk about that a little bit today. The first article we have on TAC today is from Swift ERM. It is about autonomous individualization. The title of theirs is appropriately "Death of the Segment: Why Personas Are Killing Personalization." Meanwhile, over at Forrester, we have Audrey Chi Reed, a principal analyst, saying your personas are outdated. It's time to evolve your approach. She's a little more serious, but they're saying the same thing about two slightly different but totally related ideas. Personas and segmentation, both around the conversation about what does personalization mean in this time where we have more data than ever before. We have more discretion with how to use that data, more automation available to us, higher expectations from customers than ever before. And we're just out there trying to create experiences that make money for companies and make our customers happy. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Dave, you kicked this conversation off, so I'll let you start.
Yeah, so like you, I'm seeing a lot of articles these days, the death of, like you said. I'm seeing a lot of articles and a lot of posts on LinkedIn about the persona is dead.
Yay!
Now, yeah, anybody who has been listening to our podcast or has worked with Stone Mantle in the past knows that this is something that we have been bringing to the fore for a long time, okay? And I like to start with, you know me, a little history lesson, okay? The term persona was really kind of generated 1999, 2000, 2001 as a design thinking technique to help engineers within an organization think more like their customer.
You mean it wasn't for marketers?
No,
Really?
it wasn't.
Wow.
You know what? It wasn't. And what happened over time is that language, it worked. It helped engineers to think more like their customers, which we all needed at the time.
Yep.
But then over time, it became merged with segmentation. And the reason why companies segment is because they need some kind of stable determinant for what their market looks like. And over the years, they've come up with all of these different stable determinants. Like they could say, geographically, this is my area. So that's my stable determinant. Demographically, I'm going after women. That's my stable determinant. Segmentation is basically, we can find these people, we can identify these people, and because we've identified them, we know we have a market. That's really what segmentation has been about. So, we have been saying for a long time, hey, as AI comes along, as more technology comes along, what the consumer really wants is whatever they need in the particular situation that they find themselves in. I feel like I'm talking about situations all day, every day, all the time, because there's so much that people just misunderstand, I think, about what's going on.
Dave has yet to find a situation in which talking about situations does not work.
Right. I know. It's like right now, it's my hobby horse for sure. Yep. So, Joe, you really helped me in my thinking around what I call situational markets, because you talked about markets within. Do you want to kind of talk about what meant by that idea?
So let me take the history back to 1987.
Okay, we're going back.
We're going to be back
further.
to my birth year pretty soon.
Is that your birth
guys.
year, Aransas?
No, 75,
Oh,
but I expect that'll be next.
Right. Okay. So I worked for IBM, Rochester, Minnesota. I was asked to run a project. We called it the Software Development Support Center, to get engineers to actually talk to customers. Now, that was one of our key goals. It was to bring customers and systems engineers into the development process. The head of development, software development, he says, okay, this is fine. You guys go talk to them, but don't you let those customers talk to my engineers. We've got 7 million lines of code to produce, and so on and so forth. And so we'd sort of like whisper over there, "Psst, we got a customer here. You want to talk to them?" And I'm not talking about personas. I'm talking about actual living, breathing customers, right? That's the key.
Right.
And it made a huge difference. And that, I went from there, went to strategic planning, read Stan Davis's book, Future Perfect, talk about mass customization, right? And that's where Joe Pine began, right? The modern Joe Pine began at that point, right? Turning it into a book and then discovering the experience economy and so forth. And so it really is about talking to individual customers. It's an understanding, like you said, Dave, that there are actually multiple customers within each customer. A customer is not a market or a segment or a niche or a persona or a generation. I hate that too. You're part of this generation, therefore you do this. Really? And a customer is an individual, living, breathing person, and we need to understand them as individuals and not just market to them as individuals, but actually make our offerings to them customized, a superset of personalized, in my parlance. And then the idea is that we've gone from a mass market. Think Henry Ford. Everybody's part of the mass market. Then we went into segments, right? It was really Alfred Sloan who did that with General Motors, with a car for every person, for every purpose, versus Ford's, you can have any color car you want as long as it's black. And then we went into niches, which sort of started, the automobile industry started with the minivan that was neither a van nor a car. What was it? We didn't know, but people loved it. And then what Stan Davis foresaw is you get down the next logical things, you get down to individual customers. But the progression doesn't end there. What happens is it really flips, and we recognize, rather than with all the other things, multiple customers were part of the market, right? Until you got down to markets of one, where every customer is a market. Then what flips is multiple markets are a part of every customer. That we are not this definitional. What was the word used? Something determinant.
It was you need a stable determinant.
Stable determinant, right? Customers themselves are not stable determinants, even if you are able to get down there. That we want different things at different times. When I go traveling, and I'm traveling on business, I want one thing from the airline, from the hotel, from the rental car or other transportation, the restaurants that I go to. If my wife comes along with me on a business trip, all of that changes. If it's no longer a business trip, it's a leisure trip. They really change. Right, I'm the same customer. I'm using the same credit cards, but I'm in a different situational market. It's a different situation. It's different context, and we have to get rid of this idea of people. And now here's where you can actually think about personas. Like each one of those might be a persona. I might be multiple personas, but you never say there's a person, there's that persona. Right? That's just wrong. Morally, much less business-wise.
I might disagree with you a little bit on that point, or refine it a little bit. But Aransas, what are your?
Yeah, I just think there's such a strong customer case to be made here, as well as a strong business case, right? So from a customer standpoint, we want to show our customers that we actually care about them, and segmenting them into blocks and assuming we know anything about them is the first way to show that we do not actually care, that we think of them as a number, we think of them as a line item on a balance sheet and not as a human being. And then from a business standpoint, one of the things that the article from SwiftTRM said that I thought described this nicely, they said, in a high SKU retail environment, the segment is a blunt instrument. It's a generalization masquerading as an insight. While your team is busy building a persona for Sarah, the 35-year-old yoga enthusiast, Sarah has already moved on. She isn't a persona. She's a dynamic stream of intent. By grouping her with 5,000 other Sarahs, you aren't personalizing. Sarah now has moved on. She bought a yoga mat 6 months ago, but you've ignored the fact that for the last 3 days, her digital breadcrumbs show a sudden, intense interest in high-end supplements and weightlifting gear. By the time you update, her window of intent is slammed shut.
Yeah. Which is a perfect type of thing. I love in the article as well that they talk about Bayesian analysis. This is something that for listeners who haven't paid attention to, Bayesian analytics is predictive analytics. It's a type of math where you take basically past activities and you use past activities to predict future behavior.
Where the probabilities change with every new piece of information that you get.
Correct. What historically the personalization folks have done is they've identified, yesterday you watched a romance on Netflix, therefore tomorrow you're going to want a romance on Netflix. Okay. So they're basically using your purchase behavior or your click stream to determine that. What the world that we live in today is much more sophisticated, and artificial intelligence is helping with this. So now we can use Bayesian analytics to determine context, to use context to help to support, and predict what the next future thing is going to be. So the reason why yesterday I watched a romance is because it was Friday night and I was with my wife and that was the context.
That's enough. Don't get any more information.
All right. There you go. So that's the context. And what's interesting is that Friday nights can be very predictive of a lot of people's behavior. So if you're looking for that stable determinant, look at the context. Look at
and the
common situations, the patterns for common situations. Because I'll tell you, I think the way that Joe travels in his personal life isn't that much different than other men who travel in their personal life and also like golf. Sure, we got to take into consideration preferences. And cigars, we got to take into consideration some preferences. So I'm not saying that.
I also think, though, the time aspect of this is valuable, right? So we just watched this with the latest Apple Watch update. So historically, if you go into the fitness, it scrolled in the same order every time. Then they got better and they just gave you whatever you'd done last. Now in this latest update, I've noticed that it's giving me what I usually do on that day of the week. So I lift on Mondays and Wednesdays. I run Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Now when I open it on those days, it shows me running first. On my lifting days, it shows me lifting first. That's a pretty significant shift in how it's serving up the options for me.
The recommendation.
Yep.
Now you can change it if you want. Such a simple hack.
Right? Yeah. But it knows that you're going to watch romance movies with your wife probably on Fridays. And I think that is a key aspect of this.
I don't know
what are
why
our patterns?
I don't know why more companies are not paying attention to simple calendaring.
Right.
Because mornings pretty much behave the same, and afternoons
Monday through
pretty much
Thursday, right? Maybe Friday's an anomaly. Who knows?
Restaurants get this. You don't serve up breakfast food typically at 9:00 at night because they get it. They understand the context.
I love breakfast food for dinner. It feels like I'm getting away with something.
Yeah, but that's an occasion. Yeah,
right. But that's its own thing. But you're right. Yeah. There are really simple assumptions we can make. And I think where we make the mistake is kind of trying to over-engineer this stuff and make assumptions that just don't actually hold water.
Yeah. I personally believe, actually, we've been doing a lot of research on this, so we know it.
You personally can support.
I personally can support the idea
Research shows.
that you can actually aggregate situations.
Mm-hmm.
Situations can become that stable determinant. Okay, we actually did a study. This is a couple of years ago for a firm that you push a button and it gives a smiley face if you like the bathroom and if you don't. We did a study where we looked at Chicago and the Chicago train station and whether or not people use the bathroom changed because of the weather. I know this is kind of gross, but think about it. Versus um, the a gas station in France. All right, so very different contexts. When the weather changed, was there any impact on people's patterns, their behavior? When the weather changed in France, the number of people using the bathroom went way up in gas stations. It didn't change at all in Chicago in the train stations. That's a fascinating thing to pay attention to.
It's a completely different audience, right?
Yeah, well, you're right. There's a totally different set of things that are occurring, obviously, and we can go deeper around that.
Yeah, I have many questions because I ran the Paris Marathon. It's the only marathon I've run that didn't have toilets.
Oh my
They only had urinals.
Barbarians.
No, they
All
only
of
had
them.
urinals. Half of the population running this race, 20,000 of the people running it, needed to sit to pee.
How?
They had one toilet and like 100 urinals.
Those sexist pigs.
Well, I wasn't going to say it, but I think they were really designing for an imaginary audience there.
Yeah, they had a persona.
They had a persona, and
It
it was
does
the
remind me
guy
too.
who bought the toilets, the renter. Yeah.
Yeah, the first time I went into the American Girl place, men's bathroom, they had products that men can't use that women sometimes needed. And because obviously they had turned a women's bathroom into a men's bathroom when they realized that fathers loved seeing their girls' eyes light up and buy American Girl stuff too.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I wondered if maybe they had done it because they were dads, but hopefully not at that age. The girls don't need to go.
Yeah, that would be
Though
right.
the age of American puberty has reduced drastically.
We digress. So I think one of the things that we're saying in part is that companies, in order to identify a market, in order to grow, there have to be certain things that they can count on.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that and I think this article does a great job, like technology is making it possible for you to do some of the things that Stan Davis was talking about way back in the 90s. And it's just taken a long time for technology to get there. So we now have the technology. We can no longer use the excuse that we can't do one-to-one type of things. We certainly should be able to do that kind of thing. But if that still seems scary to the company, think about aggregating situations. Really, think about it. And I don't like to use the word moments because I love moments and I care about moments, but the term has become burdened by 20 years of design thinking, language, that when you say, moment, somebody thinks immediately, well, it's a retail moment number 1 and retail moment number 2 and retail moment number 3. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about something that's far more organic, far more contextual. And so I think situations works better.
And based on customer in, not retail outlet out or product out.
Right. Mm-hmm. Customers have access to the same AI. They can customize their experience just as easily as you can customize it for them. So, they'll set it up for their context every single time.
Vibe code their shopping experience.
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
We have a lot more power, and we expect a lot more if we're going to give somebody our money.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, guys. Speaking of giving money, let's talk about luxury wellness on the next episode. What do you think?
Sounds great.
All right.
All right. For those of you listening, find us over at the Experience Strategy Podcast or Substack and podcast and all the places. Or you can connect with all of us on LinkedIn. We'd love to hear from you. All right. You want to just keep rolling?
Yeah, let's just keep rolling.
All right. I know. Let's see what we're going to talk about.
Rise of wellness travel. Been rising for a while.
I know. This is a year old, too.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was more recent. Sorry about that.
Do you want to talk about something more recent?
I mean,
Let me see. Let me just see what comes up with wellness tourism. Trying to come up with somebody who we actually care about. Forbes.
Okay.
Best luxury hotels for wellness travel. No, that's just who to choose. But that might be interesting. Travel and tourism as tourism hits 900 billion. Yeah, here we go.
Okay, you're going to send it to
Yeah,
me?
it's perfect because it's about immersive programming.
Is there a chat?
Yep, coming your way. I say that, I got to find the button. Okay. All right, let's read this really quickly.
Got it.
Mine hasn't come through yet, so.
It's on the chat on.
Oh, it's on there. Okay.
12 luxury hotels leading the shift. Have we talked about longevity before?
Not enough.
Not a lot. Not a lot. Come on. How come I won't show up? Chat. It is not Aransas showing up on mine. Can you resend it?
Yeah, let me send it to you via text.
I might have gotten it. I'm not as impressed with the latest update of Riverside. It's crashed on me multiple times.
Oh, no.
So it's part of the reason why I don't want to.
Interesting thing here is that they got the Aria Resort and Casino in Las Vegas is one of the examples here, which you don't expect.
Okay. All right. Well, I will.
It's just pretext. So.
You guys ready to go, or?
I'm scanning.
Yep. Yeah, find something to quote, Aransas.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Okay, I didn't read them all, but that's fine. I think I read enough to guess.
Yeah, well, the first three paragraphs are key.
Yeah. All right, ready when you are, guys.
Okay.
Welcome to the Experience Strategy Podcast with Dave Norton, Joe Pine, and me, Aransas Savas. Today, we're going to talk about a recent article from Forbes. The title is Wellness Tourism Could Top 900 billion with a B in 2030. Luxury hotels are racing to keep up. I highlight 12 luxury hotels that are leading the luxury travel shift through, and this is important for our purposes, immersive White Lotus style wellness programming, longevity driven design, and destination spa experiences. I mean, it's a lot of, luxury architecture porn in this article. So if that's your thing, you should definitely read this. I want to go to all of these places now. So sold. Thanks for influencing me, Forbes. Beyond that, though, to our point here on the Experience Strategy podcast, I think there are a few things we really need to talk about. Number one is luxury, which we've talked about a lot on this show. Number two is what the immersive aspects are and how important that is. Number three, the influence of the media. They talk about these being influenced by White Lotus style wellness programming. And we think about the power of media to influence behavior and change. So I think that's super interesting. We should touch on longevity driven design. And then this last one, destination spa experiences. The thing that jumped out to me most of all as I read this article was how location specific the offerings were. And so really, this is, I don't think what the article was about, but for me, the key takeaway in this trend is that these top destinations are the ones that are leveraging their authentic environments and repositioning those as a wellness solution. And so, if you're in Sedona, it is all about the healing rituals. If you're in Greece, it's about the water, which seems a little bit obvious, but it really feels like they are telling a story here that says, we immerse you in a film, in a script that is an aspirational lifestyle, both in terms of luxury, but also a place where you can imagine yourself living out the fantastical experiences that you've seen on Netflix. The fact that now is valued at close to 900 billion or on its way to 900 billion. I think, again, we did a couple of weeks ago, we talked about YouTube and how it's really changing how people think about media and entertainment. And I think this is the next piece of that story. So yeah, the YouTubers are going to make some money, but who else are they going to make money for? And where are we going to spend because of the stories we are told to buy through media? Joe, I'll pass it to you. You're nodding along.
Yes,
enthusiastically.
Well, the one surprise when I looked through all those hotels, actually, you talk about the authenticity of place, was the Aria Hotel in Las Vegas, which I think the place is, we will keep you so pampered you won't want to go outside in 100-degree heat in the summer. So stay here.
But if it's so nice, will you really want to go down and spend your money in their casinos? I don't know. Well, I guess it's for the person who isn't the gambler, maybe, to keep them distracted.
I got to be honest. I've been to the Aria Hotel. It didn't do it for me.
No, well, I also wasn't on the wellness floor, and I wasn't there recently.
That's true.
Because I think what they're saying too, and this is probably one of the things to note, is that a lot of these places are reimagining their services to be both more luxurious and more focused on wellness. So it's a different destination than it was when we were there.
So on the last podcast, we went back in history. So I'm going to take you back in history again, right after the experience economy came out.
We need a special sound effect for this guy.
Right. 2000, 2001, 2002, I worked with MGM in Las Vegas, and did a lot of work with them. And one of the things I told them was that there will come a day, right? It might be 15, 20 years, but there will come a day when you will make more money off of the non-gaming experiences that you stage than you will off the gaming. And they were like, you're crazy, right? And I said, and then a day after that will come where you'll make more profit, not just revenue off of them. Yeah. And that day is here. And it was actually, it was before 2010 that the line switched. They made more money off of non-experiences, right? Because of the rise of the experience economy, because it is the experience capital of the world. Today, I haven't seen this number, but I'll guarantee you they make more profit off of non-gaming experiences. The hotels do. So Aransas, to your point, they don't care if you go to the spa instead of gaming anymore. There's so much profit. There's so much in that spa that the average per minute, right, the money value of time, as we called it in the 2020 re-release of the experience economy, is measure your money value time, and it's higher for the spa than it is for gaming, that they're getting. So, and obviously this is also part and parcel of the trend towards the transformation economy, that it's not just about the memorable experiences, they're meaningful experiences, or the transporting experiences. And what you're saying, Aransas, is a lot of these places, the Greek Ocean and the Moroccan was another one, the Moroccan Desert and others. Right? These are awe-inducing places. These are not just memorable and meaningful. These are transporting experiences.
Yes.
And within those, you can then have these transformative experiences of going through this and going on a wellness journey, or often it's you're already on this wellness journey and you're going on vacation and you're going to use this to take the next step on that journey. That's the hotel and spa is almost like a chrysalis from between what you were before and what you're going to become, and they're helping you do that. And if you think of your place as a chrysalis, whatever it is, then there's so much value in thinking about how you help people on their journey. I first came up with that idea at a third place summit in Rotterdam in January, whereas all these third places, surprisingly, a lot of them are libraries, but the libraries consider themselves third places as well. And I told them that this is what you need to do, is think of yourself as a chrysalis. Everyone coming through there is on a journey. And how do you help them reflect and push them forward to the next part of the journey? And when you're actually providing the daily fitness regimens, the longevity and the energy programs, the luxury skincare, all the anti-aging supplements, doing the spas and massages, you can just do a tremendous push forward on those wellness journeys.
Well, and I think the longevity piece of this is especially relevant, right? Because a lot of these other things like a massage, in our research with people in terms of their definition of transformation, we came to understand that it was less expansive than we might have initially thought, that they really were looking for that sustained impact and something more profound than a massage or a facial could ever give them. But longevity, that's true transformation.
Right.
And so I think that, and I kind of think that this like ability to step into imaginary worlds is creating an impression of transformation, even if it's not actually delivering transformation. So I think that's kind of interesting.
It's fascinating to think about what transformation means. High-end, elite, luxury transformation. What does that mean? You're going to live years longer. You're going to be stronger. You're going to be more in balance.
And you'll be more healthy in the years that you live is one of the key things.
Yeah, right. That's a fascinating.
And richer.
Yeah, well, I think all of that is
how much money you spend on the longevity.
Irrelevant. We don't want that. You can't logic emotion, Joe.
But I think that's a fascinating kind of thing to take a look at, because it is kind of that convergence of things like GLP-1s and biometrics and prevention and hormone optimization
and fitness tracking.
All of these different tools. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's do an episode on that.
That's one ugly
looks maxing. Ugly. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it when we interrupt ourselves with a different episode we want to do.
But you've got all of these different things that are kind of converging at the same time and creating this luxury experience. Luxury used to be about exclusivity. Only a few people could participate. And maybe to a certain degree, that's still the case. Certainly the cost is prohibitive for some people. But what I'm understanding now is it's not like who has the biggest diamond. It's not like who has the nicest car. It's like who can go to Greece and enjoy the waters of Greece, really feel the blue that's associated with everything Greece, and eat the food and walk away with their sleep better, their biometrics better, fully prepared for the next wonderful experience that they're going to have.
Rejuvenated.
And like, really, when you present it that way, just
Mm-hmm.
like sit with it for a second. I think it makes so much sense that we're willing to spend so much more on that
Yeah.
because it is lasting. It's an actual transformation instead of just a temporary visit to a destination.
Yeah. It's a
It's a
fascinating
much
thing.
bigger promise, and it holds much higher value, which is the whole premise of the transformation book.
It's interesting that the number one thing we think that you could do to make the value increase is cost free. And that's just a little bit of reflection.
Yeah.
So like you give them all of these, you do the biometrics, you do the prevention, you do the hormone optimization, do all of that right there in Greece, but you got to get them to reflect, which is cost nothing. But if you do it, it makes all the difference, right?
Remember we were at the Arrival travel event last September in DC, right? And working on that, we came up with the idea that the understanding rather that reflection automatically and retroactively increases the value of the experience. Right? If you just get people to reflect on it, to understand what the highlights of it were, then it cements those memories in. To understand the impact it's having on you now, which then helps you cement your aspirations and what you're trying to become, and then think about what the possibilities are in the future, which can include, man, I got to do this again, and I got to tell my friends about it, and so forth. So you're increasing the value by getting your guests, I'll say, your aspirants to reflect. It's one of the number one things that experienced stagers don't do today.
Did you guys watch White Lotus?
No.
I've watched a couple of episodes.
I've seen the whole
season
series.
one.
No.
Okay.
So most recent series really focuses on the power of the guide, both for good and bad, right? So you have one.
I was going to say, don't people die in this thing? I thought that's
That's part of the thing.
but not
one of the guides, right? Like, and there's always guides though in every season.
No.
And so like in this most recent season, there is a guide who is a destructive force, but there also are guides which are highly productive forces. And you actually see, as a part of this imagined landscape, you see what it might be like to actually have essentially a therapist with you on your holiday.
Sounds crazy.
It does sound crazy. And yet it's actually sort of beautiful. And they kind of demonstrate how intimate this relationship can be in this sort of transformative setting, right? You have a character on a hero's journey, on a mission, and you have this guide there to both counter their base influences and to inspire their better choices. And sometimes that goes well and sometimes it doesn't. But I actually think for folks who are trying to understand the potential of the transformation economy, I think it's a pretty interesting way to start imagining and envisioning what's possible.
Did you say it's on Netflix?
I think it's Netflix. Is it Netflix?
Right. I think it's Hulu, isn't it?
Hulu.
I think it's on Hulu.
I thought one of the reasons I didn't watch it was on something else.
I couldn't tell you. There is, for me, no differentiation between the streaming platforms. So that's the next episode too.
Yeah, we're going to do that. But little piece of a little factoid for you: the creator of White Lotus. Do you know what he does for his transformational experiences? He's a Survivor person. He's been on Survivor multiple years. This year he got voted out awfully early, but I'm blanking on his name right now.
Yeah, I am too. I've read a lot of stuff with him. He's a kooky dude.
Yeah,
but I didn't know he was on Survivor.
Yeah, he's on Survivor, and so that's the exact opposite, right? But
if you are in hospitality, and I'm sure there's other situations, including third places and that, think about also then taking the next step, Aransas. You talked about the power of the guide. So reflection is the third step of this encapsulation, as I call it, chapter 4 of the experience economy, right? The number one model for experienced stagers to become transformation guiders. And it starts with preparation, which some people, academics call preflection, right? So do the preflection before the experience, then you have that sets them up, primes them for it. Then you have the experience, then you do that reflection. And then the final step is integration, right? Which is after they leave your place, how do you still help them integrate them into your, this experience into your life? And I read an article, I think Wall Street Journal, but maybe someplace else, sort of last fall, that talked about several luxury hotel destinations that had integration therapists, right? That specifically to help you with integration on transformations that you're undergoing elsewhere and there. And it's just like, it's the next step to be able to add that part, not just the reflection part to your experience.
Yeah.
I've heard about that a lot with like ketamine therapies and plant medicine, that people are using integration therapists for that, but I hadn't heard about it. For
Othership in, I don't remember if it's in Brooklyn or
Othership. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And first in Toronto, right? I mentioned them in the book because that's one of the things they do as well, is that people go on an ayahuasca thing and you come here, no drugs in here, but we can help you integrate whatever it was that you experienced out there in the desert and have it actually make a difference in your lives.
Really smart.
Love it. Love it.
So you guys, I have updates on the personal end. My daughter has chosen a college.
Oh.
And every time somebody asks her what she wants to do when she grows up, she says, I want to start a third space for creative young people.
Great.
Wow.
So there you go.
She takes after her mother just a little bit.
I swear I had no influence.
Sure.
I really didn't. It was someone who created third spaces that influenced her. And she had no idea that I had anything to do with anything similar to that.
So you don't have to name the place, but where is it?
I'll name the place. It's great. She's going to Ithaca. It's huge school.
Ithaca, okay, in New York.
Yeah.
Ithaca. Let's be on the East Coast then.
I'm really glad. She had planned to go Pacific Northwest, and before that, talking about Ireland and Scotland. So the fact that it's a 4-hour drive is a real relief. I don't know, who are we with one of the members of our family missing? I'm going to need some integration therapy very soon.
It's a new family identity. It absolutely will be. I guarantee you. When our oldest Becca was a senior in high school, she became really like the worst person you wanted to hang around. and my wife Julie always thought it was like her way of separating. Right, was that to create this separation because she was shy and so forth, and we told her she couldn't go more than 4.5 hours away, because we had to be able to come and get her should something happen, and it really changed her. And she actually went and she said, "I'm gonna, my words, transform into not being so shy." Right, and she did that, and it was effective. And it was wonderful, but by the end of that senior year, we were happy to see her go.
It is interesting watching that progression happen. This like actual separation. It's like you can almost see it happening. Yeah. She's already started packing.
Oh, really?
It's only May.
For September?
Yeah. She's inventorying her wardrobe.
The apple has not fallen that far from the tree. Let's be honest. I see a lot of Aransas in this story. So
well, I'm flattered. I really like her a lot. Thanks, guys. It was really good to see you. For those of you listening, I hope you fast forwarded through that, or it was interesting to you. Okay. And if you have kids going to college, reach out because I need a support group.
Start a support.
So, if there's a topic you haven't heard us talk about that you wish we would talk about, tell us. Because we're really interested in talking about what you're interested in. So find us over on Substack. I think by now, hopefully you know where to find us. The Experience Strategy Substack is the easiest way to connect with all three of us. Reach out there. Let us know what you're reading. And then we'll talk about it. And then we can all talk about it in the comments.
Yeah.